Namaste, creative yogis, how you're doing out there, and thanks for tuning in. So, we've just rolled into a new full moon cycle, and this one is in Aquarius. So, last month it was all about the body and really checking into the body and just paying attention to what your body is telling you and being guided by that, really helping you to find an easier path for yourself. Because remember, we inhabit our lives, we embody our lives. So if we're asking too much of ourselves physically, then we're going to burn out. There's no two ways about it. So it is about finding that balance, and that's what last month was about: tuning in and listening. And it's interesting for me. I was juggling two spas while I was sorting out my finances, and one of the spas I'd come away from, and I'd be so tired, and I'd have a niggle in my back, and I'd feel sick, and all this sort of stuff. And so the last time I worked there, I was actually sick for 3 days, and really my body was just in one big spasm. And I thought, okay, that's it. I'm just gonna call it quits with the spa, and I'll find another way just to sort my finances out. So I did that, and I have to say, this week I've been feeling much better, much lighter, because I honoured my body, I listened to myself, and yeah, the finances are fine. So this is what last month was about, to help us really start to trust our bodies and what our bodies are trying to tell us, and not be so much up here with the kind of logical stuff. It's more this understanding that we are inhabiting our lives. Our bodies feel everything. And so this month, we've kind of moved into Aquarius energy, which is about being true to yourself. So it's a kind of similar idea. Really checking in and recognizing and celebrating your uniqueness and your unique gifts, and what it is that you have to share with this beautiful world that we live in. So I sort of think of the collective, or the humanity, as this massive jigsaw puzzle, and you're one of the pieces. Your uniqueness fits in with all the other unique energies around. So when we're not following our path and celebrating and honoring our unique gifts, that little piece of the jigsaw puzzle is missing. you know. And so there is something really vital and essential about taking the time to tune in and listen and honour what it is that we have to offer our beautiful planet, whatever that may be. And it is to do with you being yourself, being your beautiful, unique, magical self, which is wonderful to kind of recognize how important that is, rather than conforming or trying to fit in with a certain kind of look or a certain kind of norm, or doing what everybody else is doing. That kind of way of being actually masks who you really are, and we want to kind of break free of that way of operating. And a lot of us are waking up to this and recognizing that all this programming and conditioning is outmoded. It doesn't suit us anymore with this shift and change in the world that we live in. We do actually need to be very genuine and real, and very tuned in there and checked in there, in order to be the best that we can be in the workplace, as a parent, as a partner, all that sort of stuff. We do need to make sure that we're being true to ourselves, true to our heart. Our heart is the center of our truth. So this month is all about the air element, which is the heart chakra. It's opening the heart space up through our beautiful back bends, our anahata flows. I've already posted up a few vids in my Instagram about giving this stuff a go. And really, it's a very inspiring month, because I always find the heart chakra is where the inspiration lives. So when we check in there, connect to unconditional love, self-love, everything becomes more beautiful, and it's celebrating our beautiful uniqueness, and really just really getting into that this month. So it is actually a very gorgeous month, lots of fun stuff to play with there, and really making the most, I think, of your beautiful self. I think that's kind of the theme of the month, really, which is a good thing. All right, so we're going to choose some cards for you today. So let's have a look. I've got the Moonology again, so we'll give bit of a shuffle and just check in and figure out what message do the creative yogis need to know at the moment. What do the creative yogis need to know? All right. This one's calling me. Your commitment is being tested. Okay. So, one thing that I've noticed this year, that it is quite a challenging year for a lot of people. You know, I've talked about this before. A lot of us are going for the big dreams, and along the way we are being challenged. So the way I look at this stuff, the way I frame it, I think about the story of the butterfly. So when the butterfly is breaking out of the chrysalis, that struggle actually strengthens its wings. So when it actually breaks out, it can fly, you know, and it can enjoy the last part of its life. But if someone came along and opened up the chrysalis for the butterfly, the wings wouldn't be strong enough and it wouldn't be able to fly. So the understanding is that these struggles that we're going through this year are for us to build strong wings so that we can fly. So if that helps you in any way to kind of feel better about whatever challenges you're facing, I hope that is the case. So yes, this is a confirmation that your commitments are being challenged by the universe, and it's happening for reasons that we may not understand, you know, but they are there to help us develop something in ourselves in order for us to succeed. So it is about going through that process and recognizing that there is a reason for it, you know, even if we can't see it. That does make me feel a lot better sometimes when I'm being challenged, though it doesn't mean I always I don't have sort of moments where my patience gets frazzled and I get a bit short-tempered and things like that. No, we're all human, you know. And again, it goes back to self-love. Whenever you feel like you've had enough, then just take some time out from it all and take a rest. All right, so I've also got the goddess cards as well. I felt like it would be nice to include some divine feminine healing energy, helping us to tap into this lovely heart-centered month. So what do the creative yogis need to know right now? Let's pull a card for you. Oh, so this is an interesting one. It's Isis. So Isis actually is a really good one for the heart. She's definitely one of the goddesses that relates to the heart chakra. It says this situation involves your past life, whether you believe in that. It might just mean that not necessarily past lives, but to do with whatever life you've led up till now. There may be some entanglements, there may be things going on, which are you kind of clearing up things from the past in order for you to be able to move forward. So like I said about my job, it was dragging me down, and I actually had to let that job go in order to be able to move forward. So maybe something like that's going on at the moment that you just need to look at. That there's old stuff, and like I said, it could also be that programming and conditioning that just you looking at it and realizing actually that's not true of me. I'm not actually, you know, whatever rubbish we've been told, it may come up. I'm just trying to think of another good example of that. I think I've always kind of like lived my own life anyway, and I've always gone down my own road. But when I talk to women who have chosen to get married and have children, some of them do say that they feel that they haven't really had a chance to live their own lives because they've had to be so self-sacrificing throughout, you know, 20, 30 years that they were in that situation. So, you know, there is a lot of stuff there that we need to look at as women about the expectations, and I know there is a lot, particularly on being the perfect mother and the perfect partner and all that sort of thing. And maybe some of this doesn't resonate with you anymore, and it's about time to kind of look at that kind of thing very gently and compassionately, and maybe there's some kind of subtle shift that you need to do in order to celebrate your choices, you know, and what's right for you. So it could be something along those lines that's sort of coming up for you. It's interesting that just came into my head. I had a client yesterday who was talking to me about this stuff, so maybe that's why. And it's very interesting to me how these women talk about how, yeah, they just didn't even think about themselves for 30 years. And then the kids grow up and they're left with nothing. They just feel like an empty shell. And it's very sad to hear that that's kind of what's happened for them. That's been their life experience. So we don't want that to happen. We want you to be really anchored in and happy with your choices, happy with your relationships, happy with the way you're raising your children, all that sort of stuff. You want to be making these beautiful decisions where you're honouring yourself every step of the way. All right, so that's it from me today. Have a lovely week. Namaste, creative yogis.